My name is Brent Weisberg. First name is spelled B-R-E-N-T. Last name is Weisberg, W-E-I-S-B-E-R-G. I'm a spokesperson with the Salt Lake City Police Department. This morning we're here to recap the incident that happened Friday night around 10:45 near the intersection of 700 East and I-80. Based on the preliminary information that we have arrested a man who is accused of attempting to kidnap a 12-year-old child. This investigation started when Salt Lake City 911 received reports of a suspicious circumstance involving this man near the intersection of 700 East I-80. As Salt Lake City police officers began their investigation, they learned that there were two children walking near the intersection of 700 East and I-80. At some point, while the girls were walking, an unknown person to them came out of some bushes, grabbed a 12-year-old girl by the wrist, and started pulling her. The girl's friend was able to start fighting with the individual, the suspect in this case, and was able to break free the girl's friend was able to break the man's grip, and ultimately the two girls ran away and were able to flag down a community member. That community member gave the two girls immediate help, and we're very appreciative of that person. However, at this point in our investigation, we're asking that person to contact the Salt Lake City Police Department because at this point we don't know who that person is, and we believe that that person may have critical information to us. Immediately after this situation, Salt Lake City police officers began combing the area looking for the suspect, and we were able to identify the suspect. We have taken him into custody, and our officers have booked him into the Salt Lake County Jail with one count of attempting child kidnapping. This is a very unusual circumstance, and our investigation is still in the very early stages of this investigation. I'm happy to take any questions.
Was this a crowded area? You know, is there typically lots of people on foot here at night? Were there people there that night, other witnesses, or?
Yeah, again, this happened around 10:45 Friday night near the intersection of 700 East and I-80. That part of Salt Lake City in the Sugar House neighborhood is routinely very busy, and it doesn't matter what time of the night it is. So we're very fortunate that there was a community member who was driving who may have actually seen this, and at the very least, when this community member was flagged down by these two girls, this community member immediately stepped up. They helped these girls, and they allowed our officers to get there to the scene to start investigating. So again, we're very fortunate that this community member was there who was able to take action to help these two girls in what had to be an unimaginable situation. Again, we are asking for that community member to contact the Salt Lake City Police Department. We don't have their information, and we're really asking them to come forward to help us with this investigation. Anyone who has information on this case is asked to call 801-799-3000.
Do we know if the suspect had any kind of weapon, or if there's any violence or threat of violence there, but beyond just grabbing the girl?
Yeah, based on the preliminary information, we don't have any indication that the suspect used any weapons to threaten the two girls. Based on what we know so far is the suspect came out of some bushes. He may have actually been hiding in the bushes near the overpass at I-80 and 700 East. And as these girls walked by, it is alleged that he suddenly approached them without warning, grabbed onto that 12-year-old girl's wrist, and started pulling her away from her friend. Fortunately, again, that friend of the 12-year-old started fighting back, and between the 12-year-old and her friend fighting this individual, they were able to get free and immediately waved down that community member. So this was a very scary incident for these two girls, a very traumatic incident. The Salt Lake City Police Department is committed to helping those involved with this situation through our victim services to provide them support and advocacy during what has to be a very difficult time for these two individuals and their families.
And as we are, here in front of the public safety building of all places, is there any sort of advice you'd have to give to help keep the public safe? Anything that they can be aware of to, keep themselves out of situations like this?
Sure. again, we believe that this was a very rare and isolated incident. Violent crime like this is very rare for Salt Lake City. We typically don't have this type of violence, especially when it involves strangers on strangers. Based on the preliminary information we have, it appears that this may be a stranger on stranger incident. Our detectives with our Special Victims Unit are still investigating everything, trying to determine whether or not this individual was in the community for a long time or whether he may have seen these two girls before. So all of that is still under investigation. As for tips for our community, it's really a good idea for parents and guardians to have age-appropriate conversations with their children about strangers and what to do if someone approaches them, if there is unwanted behavior, or if there's something that happens that might be a dangerous or unwanted situation. We encourage parents and guardians to remind their children to make sure that they tell them that they can go to someone they trust, whether it's a school teacher, whether it's another family member, or simply calling 911 themselves and letting them know about this situation. Fortunately, here in Salt Lake City, we have the ability to do text 911, but obviously in a life-threatening situation like this, we would always encourage someone to dial 911.
What does it mean to you and the department to have this Good Samaritan be there and to offer assistance to these children?
Without that Good Samaritan who stepped in, we don't know what would have happened. Fortunately, these two girls were able to break free from the suspect's grasp and were able to flag down that community member. Based on what we know right now, this community member happened to be the right place at the right time and did the right thing to help these two girls in a time which had to have been an unimaginably scary situation for them. So to that community member, on behalf of the Salt Lake City Police Department, we thank you. We hope you will come forward to help our detectives with their investigation that continues this morning.
At this point, do we know if this suspect was a resident of the area or if he lived somewhere else and traveled there?
So our investigation is still ongoing. Based on the preliminary information we have, we do believe that the suspect lived in that immediate area right there on 700 East at the I-80 overpass. Based on the past information that we have, based on our involvement with this individual, I can't go into specifics about his past criminal history, but we do believe that he was living on the streets in that particular area near I-80 and 700 East. So again, a very rare, a very scary situation, something that this type of violent crime fortunately does not happen here in Salt Lake City that often.
I know you said you can't go into criminal history, but is there at least history of violent crime?
I don't have the specifics. Part of our investigation is looking into this individual's past criminal history to see his involvement, whether it's with the Salt Lake City Police Department, other agencies that may be in Salt Lake County, or throughout the state of Utah. So that investigation is still ongoing. Of course, we can refer media to the court's public records on Court Exchange to see if there's any additional information that may be available for release.
I'm good. You guys got any other questions?
I'm good.
All right. Thanks, everyone.